everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'll be showing you 10 cards I created with the Spellbinders December 2019 card kit. And I know we're already in 2020. I promise I made a resolution to be a little more mindful of not being late on things. So fingers crossed this will be the very last late video I will ever post. But I really love this kit and I wanted to do a video on it. So for card 1, I did a few things, as you saw. I first cut down a piece of the pattern paper, it's the wood grain, to 4 by 5¼ inches. I matted it onto some black cardstock, which I cut to the size of an A2 card base. And then I die cut a circle using my stitch circle dies from my stash towards the center top of that panel. I also die cut a gold frame using 2 of my stitch circle dies. And I just placed that frame right over my die cut circle panel. I'm going to flip that over and add acetate. You know me, I love adding acetate. It's sort of become like, I guess, my style of making cards. So I add acetate even on non-shaker cards a lot of the time. So now I'm going to take some of these puffy gold stickers that came in the kit, and I'm going to spell out the word Foxy. I thought it would be cute to have a sentiment that reads, "You are Foxy," and then have that die cut fox in the center of that circle, which I will sort of inlay back together. I'm actually going to pop this panel up, and the fox will kind of be set back a little, which I thought was something different and interesting. It adds some dimension. I had some of these gold hearts in my stash. I've been making a lot of Valentine cards lately, so I have a lot of these teeny tiny hearts that I keep in a little bag. So pretty much the only extra embellishments I use are these gold and white hearts. So I just kind of sprinkled a few of those around, attaching them with my art glitter glue. And I also added a "You Are" sticker right above Foxy, and that sticker came in the sticker pack. Okay, so I'll just finish adhering one last heart, and then I will flip this panel around and add some foam tape. This foam tape I'm using is by Uline. I will have it linked down below. It is fairly inexpensive, but it's very sticky, so once it's down, it's down. So I'm just adding a whole bunch of it. And the backing on this foam tape is pretty difficult to peel off, so you can see I'm using my scissors to kind of help me out there. However, if you wanted to replicate this card, I would recommend leaving the backing of the foam tape on until you glue your little fox circle panel onto your card base first. You can see I am kind of laying it in front of the acetate as a guide to try to help me stick it onto my card base. Now, as I was doing this, the foam tape, just a little piece of it, stuck onto my card base, and like I said, once this foam tape is stuck to something, it will not come off. So I don't know how this happened, but while I did that, it actually stuck onto my card base perfectly straight, which never happens, especially on panels that cover an entire card base. So I was pretty happy about that. So here's the completed card and a close-up. And I think this card is a good masculine Valentine's Day card. So moving on to card 2, I'm taking one of the die cut banners that came in the die cut pack, and I'm just snipping apart each individual word, and the sentiment says "You and Me." And then I'm going to kind of lay out how I want this card to look. I am going to create a 5¼ inch square card. This white panel here is cut to 5 by 5 inches. So I'm going to use a few of the flowers from the die cut packs, some of the leaves as well. And then I'm also adding a die cut banner to the bottom. And that gold circle I'm using was actually from that last card I made. When I created the gold frame. So I thought that was kind of nice to ground my sentiment on. So I like how this layout looks. I'm just going to take my art glitter glue and glue down the "You and Me" sentiment. And then I will glue the gold circle with my ATG tape on top of this white panel. And then for a few of these flowers, I'm going to glue them flat. And then for the middle flower, I will pop that one up with some foam tape. I'm trying to only add glue to the center of the flowers. That way I can tuck some leaves in underneath them. And I like how the leaves add some more green to the card and they kind of match the banner at the bottom. So I hope everyone had a great holiday season. Happy New Year. I've already accomplished one goal this year, and that was to make it onto a design team, but I've actually made 2. I didn't even think I would make 1. So I am so excited. You will be seeing a lot more videos on my YouTube channel. I will keep doing the 10 card 1 kit videos, but I will also be having a lot of single card videos coming up. So basically my main goal this year is to expand my YouTube channel and hopefully gain some more followers, subscribers. Anyway, right now I am just taking some more of my tiny white hearts and I'm just going to add 3 of those to the gold circle. I felt like I needed to fill in that space more. I think those look cute. I'm going to attach this white panel onto a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch square panel I cut from that same wood grain pattern paper. I just love this pattern paper. So that will cover my whole card base and that will complete card number 2. You can see in the picture I did add a butterfly. So I thought that was cute. I also tucked in some gold die cut leaves as well. Moving on to card 3, I'm going to take this die cut image of a pretty girl with roses in her hair. I'm going to use both of the images for one card. And for one of the girls, I'm just going to fussy cut the flowers from her hair. And I'm also going to fussy cut her face and her neck. And then I'm going to pop the roses and her face onto the other one. And that's just going to add some dimension. You obviously don't have to do this, but I knew she was going to be the focal point on my card, so I decided to kind of focus my energy on her. I'm going to use the foam dots that came in the kit to pop the face and the flowers up. And these foam dots are pretty thick, so they definitely give a lot of dimension, which is what I wanted. So I'll just go ahead and pop up the last flower into her hair and then I'll show you what this looks like. It looks really cool. It kind of resembles a puffy sticker. Okay, so now I'm taking a stitched rectangle that I die cut from the gold cardstock that came in the kit. And now I'm going to take some more of the die cut images and sort of collage them around this girl. I've said this before, but whenever I get a Spellbinders kit, I like to lay out all the die cuts and group them together. And I usually group them based off color scheme. In the case of this card, I am tucking a flower behind her and that's the same flower that's in her hair. So I group things based on color, similarities, and overall what just looks pleasing to my eye. So it's pretty easy. And that's kind of how I approach the Spellbinders kits. Alright, so I also added a circle sticker, which I added onto some white cardstock and cut around. Those stickers are pretty thin, so I wanted to make them a little more substantial. That's why I added that. You can see I'm also adding a few more of my tiny hearts. I'm going to add the white and the gold this time. I adhered my gold stitched rectangle right in the center of this striped pattern paper stitched rectangle, which I believe covers a whole card base, so it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Just for some finishing touches, I will tuck in a few more leaves to finish off this collage. And I really like this one. I loved the images of the girls. I will also use the other girl that came in the die cut pack. So I'll just add some ATG tape behind this stripe panel and adhere that onto my card base. By the way, all the card bases in today's video I made myself. They are made from 110-pound white Nina cardstock. The kit does come with some card bases, but they're pretty flimsy, so I like to just use my own. So for card 4, you can see that it's a new day. I started my cards at night and then finished them the next day. So I can confidently say that I can make 10 cards with the Spellbinders kits in one day. For this go around, I actually made 14 cards, and that is because for some of my card designs, I can duplicate them because the die cut pack comes 2 to every image. So for instance, this card I'm going to make twice. I just stamp this little fox out twice, and I will color them in the same way. I'm going to color the roses with my RV32 and RV11 marker, and then the leaves I will use G43 and G45. And this image came in the die cut pack, and they left the foxes black and white, and I thought that was really cute, so I'm not going to color in the fox. I'm just going to leave it black and white. I'll fussy cut those foxes out. I did leave a white border. And now I'm going to take this wreath image from the die cut pack, and I'm going to adhere it onto some white scrap paper and then trim around it. And then I went ahead and off camera die cut this For You sentiment that came in the die set. I cut it from some of the gold cardstock that came in the kit, and I also die cut some of the crowns from the die set. And I thought it would be cute to add the crowns onto the foxes. So I'll just glue those down with my art glitter glue. I added the For You sentiment inside the wreath. And this crown has 2 pieces, so it's pretty detailed and super cute. I loved it on top of these foxes. Okay, so now I'm taking some scrap pieces of pattern paper that came in the paper pack, and I'm just going to kind of arrange them. I cut out this rectangle to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then I'll just add these strips of pattern paper to that. Attach my little fox to the wreath, and then I'll pop both of those up with some foam tape. And I thought it would be cute to add a heart underneath the For You sentiment, and I just wanted a little bit more gold, so I'm taking some gold die cut leaves. These leaves did come in the die set, and the leafy branch die is actually the headband for the fox. So I just cut it apart to make it look like a leafy branch. And then I adhered that onto my white card base, and that will complete card number 4. And like I said, I made 2 of those. On to card 5, I'm going to do some die cutting. I'm going to die cut a large stitched rectangle from some polka dot pattern paper, and then a smaller one from some pink cardstock that came in the kit. And I'm also going to cut out a stitched rectangle frame from some gold cardstock, and I did that by layering 2 of my stitched rectangle dies together. And then I'm going to work on my sentiment. I thought it would be cool to create my own sentiment using this stamp set. And one of the die cut images, I'm going to use the and symbol to make the sentiment read, "You're pretty, amazing, and special." And you can swap out the words to pretty much anything. I think they had brave, nice, kind. So I liked that you can kind of customize your sentiment with the stamp set. So I'm going to add that into my MISTI so I can stamp it out perfectly. I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink to ink this sentiment up. I'm having some trouble there, and that's because my magnet was in the way. Okay, so I'll clean off my stamp and remove that panel from my MISTI. And then I decided to clear heat emboss it since VersaFine takes ages to dry. Once that is heat set, I can go ahead and glue down my and symbol to complete my sentiment. And I wanted to create a shaker, so I'm going to take my gold frame I die cut out earlier, add some art glitter glue, and attach that onto some acetate, and that will create my shaker window that I will place over the sentiment panel I created. So here you can see what that kind of looks like. And then I will add 2 layers of Scotch 3M foam tape. I wouldn't recommend using U-line tape since it is so sticky. It's kind of difficult to cut into smaller strips. So typically for shaker cards, I will just use my 3M tape. For the shaker bits, I am using sequins and seed beads by Recollections. I chose gold, black, and clear, just to kind of go with the color scheme of this card. I will remove the backing on the foam tape and attach my sentiment panel behind it, making sure everything is adhered before I shake it. And here you can hear the shaking. So I'll just flip that shaker around, add some ATG tape, and adhere that onto my polka dot panel. And then I'll just finish this card off by adding some of the die cut butterflies from the die cut pack. And I think this card is my favorite because of the butterflies. I don't know, they're just really pretty. And I knew they had to be on their own card. And I love pink, black, and white together, and the little bit of gold also adds a really pretty touch to this card. So this one is probably my favorite. So I'll flip that around, add some ATG tape, and adhere that onto my card base. And that will complete that card. Card 6 was pretty quick to put together. I'm going to take some of the scrap polka dot paper I had from the last card and just attach that to the bottom of this white stitched rectangle. And then I'm going to take a gold stem from the die cut pack, and I'm going to create a little stemmed flower just by adding that large flower on top of this gold stem. I will pop the flower up with some foam tape. And then I'm going to create my sentiment using this Days die as well as a sentiment strip sticker from the sticker pack. So I think I choose Beautiful Days. So here I'm just going through the sticker pack, and I liked this pink one with the gold foil. So I just added that above the days, and then I will attach it onto a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch pink panel. And it just wasn't cutting it for me. I felt like it needed to be framed in, so I'm going to add this black frame over the pink panel. And I really love that, just like took it to another level. If it was in gold, that would be even prettier, but the black is pretty because it kind of goes with the polka dot paper. And then I will just attach that onto my card base, and that will complete card number 6. Super quick to put together, and it sort of inspired me to do card 7, which basically has the same layout. You can see I'm starting this card the exact same way. I will just add a strip of scrap pattern paper to the bottom of this white stitched rectangle. For this card, I decided to use 2 flowers instead of 1. I chose these whimsical roses. So again, I will adhere my gold stems flat, and then I will pop up my roses. And then for the sentiment, I chose happy. So the sentiment reads Happy Days. And again, that happy was from the sticker pack from the sentiment strips. So you can always reuse your card designs more than once and still get a fairly different look. This doesn't look exactly like the last one I made, but I did sort of copy the same layout. For this one, I decided to go with a smaller black frame, and that way I would have a black and a white frame. And that completes card 7. Here's a close-up. You can see that I did add a few tiny gold hearts to that card. Okay, on to card 8. I did some stamping and coloring here. I will be making this card twice, so I did double up my images. I'm working in assembly line style. You can see I stamped, and now I'm coloring the images all at once. I am using the same Copics I used for the fox card earlier. So I'll just quickly show you my coloring here. Nothing too fancy, just 2 colors. I did fussy cut those images out, and now I'm going to work on the sentiments for both cards. I chose You're Lovely from the stamp set. I will ink that up with some Versamark ink and stamp that on the top right corner of this dark green pattern paper, which I did die cut from a stitch rectangle die. I'm going to gold emboss these sentiments. I'm using a Tim Holtz embossing powder, which to me, it's not a very yellowy gold. It's sort of in between a rose gold and a true gold. It's really pretty and matches the gold cardstock that came in the kit perfectly. Now I'm taking the other die cut girl and I'll add some foam dots behind her and just pop her up right underneath my sentiment. And then I'm kind of going to arrange my stamped images towards the left of her, kind of creating a flower cluster. I loved that the stamped roses matched the roses that were in her hair. You can see I'm creating a smaller rose cluster off to the right of her shoulder. And now I'm cutting apart this leafy branch so I can tuck some leaves behind the smaller rose bunch. And I did pop up the roses using the same foam dots. That way they were all level with her. Okay, I like how that looks, so I'm going to attach it to this larger stitched rectangle, which I die cut from some of the floral pattern paper that came in the kit. This paper is stunning. Okay, so I felt like the top left corner needed something, so I will add this tiny butterfly. So I'll flip that panel over, add some ATG tape, and attach it to my card base. And it will cover my whole card base. I noticed I did that a lot for this video. I think it's because I really like the pattern paper and I wanted to show as much of it as possible on all of my cards. And here's the second card I made. Same layout, different look. It doesn't look the same. For this one, I added some gold leaves underneath her. I also added a sentiment die cut banner to the bottom of that card. Card 9, I'm doing another collage layout. So I just arranged some of the die cuts. I could not figure out what to do with this bear. I really tried to come up with something more creative, but nothing came to mind. I was kind of running out of ideas at this point, but I'm pretty happy with how this looks. I'm just going to layer all these elements together. Some of them I'm popping up, others I'm just gluing directly onto this gold stitched rectangle, which I did have left over from a previous card. So for these envelopes, I'm going to attach art glitter glue to the areas that overlap the bear, and then I'll add some more foam dots to the bottom where it touches the gold. And then I'll just tuck in some of these black berries. I thought those added some cute interest. I'm going to remove that black heart I glued down because I want to add my sentiment where that is. And my sentiment, I chose a circle sticker, which I will place on top of some white cardstock and trim around. That way I have a white border and the sticker is more easy to pop up that way. Okay, so I will flip that panel over and add it to this really pretty gold, black, and plaid pattern paper. And that will complete card number 9. I did create a second one of this, and that's how that turned out. I made it pink, black, and white. For card 10, I wanted to create a scene card, so I'm going to take some of this leftover dark green pattern paper and I'm going to cut it into some hills. You could use some stitched hillside dies if you have them. I decided to just cut my own here. I'm going to adhere this back hillside with my art glitter glue. I'm attaching it onto this blue pattern paper, which I die cut using a stitch rectangle die. For this taller hill, I will attach it with some foam tape to pop it up. And then I'll flip that around and trim off the excess. And then I'm going to take the house die cuts and arrange them into a scene that I like. And there were these adorable little loved and happy signs. I thought they kind of looked like realtor signs. So I wanted to add those to the front or the forefront of this card. I'm going to now adhere everything. I like how this layout looks. I did add a pink die cut heart to one of the houses, maybe to make that house look like it's the one someone chose. So this card is perfect for a new homeowner. I popped up one of those signs and just overlapped them. And then for this trio of houses, I will pop that up. And then for the single house, I'm going to add some foam tape behind that. And then I'll glue down the other trio of houses with my art glitter glue. You can see that I added a little blue ticket to the bottom of the scene. It doesn't really go with the card. I honestly just added that to add another blue element to the card. So I'm happy with how that looks. I'm going to flip this panel over and attach it to this larger stitched rectangle, which I die cut from the house pattern paper. So that paper coordinates perfectly with these little houses. I'm also going to attach my sentiment. I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape, and this sentiment is from the die cut pack. It says, "Home is where your story begins." And then I will just attach that whole thing to my card base. And that will complete card number 10. This one looks completely different than the rest of them, but I think it's really cute. Okay, and it was at this point I realized that I didn't use the fox die that came in the kit, which I don't know how I forgot about him because he's super cute and because the dies are such an important aspect of the Spellbinders kits, and I've never ever forgotten to use the dies before, so I knew I had to make another card for you guys using this cute little fox. So I did assemble him off camera since this video is already super long. Right now I'm taking a sticker from the sticker pack and I matted it onto some white cardstock. I thought about using some grass underneath my fox, but I don't know, I didn't like it. So I just took it off and I trimmed it down. I thought I would do a square card, but I decided to do an A2. I'm going to ground the fox by just adding a gold strip underneath him. By the way, I also dry embossed a wood grain embossing folder onto some craft cardstock just to add a little bit of texture. I did pop up my little fox with some foam tape right next to my sentiment, and now I'm just going to add 3 gold hearts to the top right corner. I think they help to balance the card out a little more. And then I'll flip that over, add some ATG tape, and attach it to a large polka dot rectangle panel, and then I will attach that onto my card base. And of course, it covers the whole card base. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, I'm really happy with this card. I'm glad I went back and used that little fox. I still can't believe I forgot about him because he's so cute, and this is one of my favorite cards. Okay, so now I'm going to show you all the cards I created with the December 2019 Spellbinders card kit. I really enjoyed working with this kit. I love the Valentine theme and the colors, and these beautiful girl images are stunning. Let me know which card was your favorite. I think this butterfly shaker card was mine. If you haven't yet already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and I will be sure to reply to you. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around for this very long video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!